we look at sex addiction, a lot of people just want to look at the actual behaviors. And I'm not going to spend time here going through the possibilities of what they are, but there's quite a range of behaviors that could encompass sexual addiction, all the way from pornography through acts that involve other people. But there's this acting out behavior that's going on, and this is what's on the surface. This is what can be seen. This is what gets people in trouble. This is where people get caught, and on and on and on. So there's these behaviors going on, but they're not coming from nowhere. They don't exist in a vacuum. There is something else at work here. And what we know is that underneath the actual acting out behaviors, we have preoccupation. Now, what do I mean by preoccupation? It's these thoughts. Oh, I could go do that. Or I'm going to do that, tonight after everyone goes to bed. Or, wow, I did that yesterday. Or whatever it is. But there are these thoughts. And you can only kind of live with these thoughts active for so long before you then act on them. When I used to do a lot of work with individual sex addicts, this is one of the first things that we would do is we would define what those acting out behaviors are, but then we would try to actually name and articulate what are the thoughts, the preoccupations that fuel and eventually spill over into behaviors. And this could look at like so many different things. But here's the next question. Well, why is there preoccupation? What's that about? Why, when I'm having difficulty in my marriage, do I start fantasizing about fill in the blank? And you know what? It doesn't have to be bad stuff, right? Why, when everything is going right and I want to celebrate, do I then think about this? I used to say, again, when I did a lot of work with individual addicts, all paths in addiction, all paths lead to acting out. I'm happy, act out. I'm sad, act out. I'm angry, act out. I'm stressed, act out. All paths get there. The preoccupation, this mental activity of preoccupation, is doing something. And what it's doing is it's helping us with this problem called affect dysregulation. So your affect, with an A, affect is referring to this 24/7 felt state of the body. So you could have a really intense, unpleasant affect state. You could have a really intense, pleasant affect state. That might be exuberant, versus a less intense affect state that's pleasant, like serene. So we've always got this affect thing happening. Even when you're asleep, you have an affective state of the body. And some people have a decreased capacity to regulate their affect. So when they start getting upset, for example, or too excited, or too lonely, or whatever it is, fill in the blank, when they get outside a certain window of tolerance there, they become dysregulated and they lack the capacity to return themselves to a state of regulation. And what we now know is that preoccupation is a way, an artificial way, I say artificial because it doesn't really last, it doesn't really do the job well, of regulating the affect.